You're listening to the Premier Podcast Network. Welcome to the pinnacle of wrestling entertainment, Premier Streaming Network. Join us at watchonpremier.com to unlock the ultimate wrestling experience. Curated to perfection. Immerse yourself in the spectacular world of wrestling history, where classic battles and unforgettable moments are at your fingertips. Join us today and experience the epitome of curated wrestling content. Because when it comes to wrestling entertainment, Premier sets the standard. Be Premier.
More electricity I can use, the better.
Right? Hey, everybody. Wow, this is Dominic DeAngelo. I am of countless outlets, so many, but I'm here on the Premier Streaming Network today with none other than Rob Van Dam. Mr. Monday Night. We're recording on, what is it, Thursday night? You were known as Mr. Thursday Night, though, too, for a bit, right? So
sounds familiar.
Right? It works. It works. Rob, how you doing, man? You got a new backdrop going on right now. I'm digging the vibe. It's looking good.
Hey, man, every once in a while, I might have to hop to another room and keep it different. Keep everyone on their toes, man.
Now, how good are you at pinball?
I'm decent. Probably no better than, no better than the next athletically gifted contestant. With extremely great, extraordinary eye-hand coordination,
Right? Pittsburgh, they got a big contingency where they have, like, pinball players and those leagues and everything like that. And I'm just like, wow, I never dove into that aspect of it. But
yeah, no, I don't know. I grew up playing pinball machines and video games. Even the home games at home besides the arcades, I used to have the Atari 2600. I had the original. It was called Panasonic or Panavision, and it was just the two.
Oh,
boop,
Pong.
Yeah, boop, boop. Yeah, and the ball would go back and forth real slow. Yeah, we had that Pong Panavision, I think it was called, but that's always been. But I don't play that much as an adult. I'm not a gamer. So I would most likely get my butt kicked playing some kids, even if I played RVD, what's dude's name that Jomo's buddy?
Oh,
Justin Gabriel.
Yes,
Justin Gabriel. He's doing, and he's got a couple other names too, right? But PJ
Black.
Thank you. Yeah,
yep.
He had something here in Vegas recently where he had a bunch of wrestlers there, and it was some kind of video game playing with contestants. And I was going to be part of it, but then I had a schedule conflict with the zombie movie, so I wasn't able to do it. But I was like, dude, I'm not going to do very well because, once you had to push more than two buttons, I was kind of lost.
To pass that point of no return.
Yeah.
What game was he playing? Were they playing? Do you know?
No, I'm not sure, but I think Mortal Kombat had something to do with it. I don't know if it was all just that, but he made a really cool promo video where like his face and John Morrison's face were like on the Mortal Kombat. Maybe it was their whole body, but they were doing they were in the game somehow.
What?
Yeah, it was pretty cool, the promo that he did.
I'll have to look that up then. Yeah, that's pretty sweet. I'm a big Mortal Kombat fan, so
I can send it to you.
Yeah, that's fucking awesome, actually. Damn, I know. Did you have a favorite video game when you were kind of growing up? And
well, yeah, every summer we spent at the campground, which wasn't just a lake intent, it was the campground, but it was like a place to get away all the seasonals, the regulars had big trailers. Every year we got a bigger trailer with, you know, with everything inside of it. And the place had an arcade and a swimming pool and a dance hall and a store, and rode our bikes around a lot and stuff. But that was a big part of growing up. There was a new game, usually it seems like every year. The oldest one I can remember that I got really good at, to where I could put a quarter in and just play forever, was called Jump Bug. And then Super Pac-Man, I got really good at that. Moon Patrol, so I go all the way through the alphabet on a quarter. But it does continue to get harder once you make it through the whole alphabet. But then also Shinobi was one of those, not at the campground, but in the bowling alley. I used to go to the bowling alley, and same thing. It'd be a different game every year, it seems like. Matt Mania or Mania Challenge, the wrestling one. That was one of them. Like, it got to where me or my buddy Dango, we'd put a quarter in, and it's like, dude, we're going to be there for 45 minutes, you know. So, yeah, so go, you know, no use waiting around unless, because kids go up and they put their quarter up there. That means I'm next, you know. Yeah, right. Bionic Commando was one of those. I'd make it like forever on one quarter.
Oh, man, I love the barcade atmosphere now, where you go and there's just like a bar, you get hammered and you play like old arcade games and stuff. Does not help with my skill whatsoever, but it's
I went to one recently, but I didn't leave the bar.
No, hey, that's okay too.
Yeah.
You had your own, you were playing your own type of Frogger there.
Yeah, Katie was running around with our niece and nephews, or niece and nephew, I guess, and it was cool because, like you said, there was a bar, so I was like, cool. I was on my cell phone doing something, probably fighting with Twitter fans.
Right. How's that been going, by the way? Is there any updates that you want to share, anything like that?
I don't think so. I don't, you know, I haven't had any exciting days or had any ongoing conversations in several days. So that's nothing too interesting there.
Well, hey, we touched upon it last week, guys. If you didn't get a chance to check it out, it's a good episode. We talk about Vince McMahon, but Rob really we hammer home how a lot of basic thinkers are happening on Twitter, and it's a definite reflection of, like, it makes you think, you know, if you're thinking outside the box a little bit, makes you think about what you're doing.
I hope it does.
Yeah.
Hopefully it makes you check yourself.
Absolutely.
That's the purpose. That's the purpose of calling people out.
Oh, 100%. So where did I want to start here today? Yes, feedback. We had some good feedback. I took a couple comments off of YouTube here. D Hardy 316 says, I'm glad you're investing time into this, RVD. Nice to see the views go up. Also, I think you got a future in this for sure, but nothing beats RVDology. So some good feedback there. That somebody's getting some insight from it, so that's good.
Right, that's it, dude. That really goes a long way. So if you're listening and give us some thought, leave a message. Otherwise, I don't know. And now I know. So I'm like, cool. At least, what's his name? D's Nuts, you said?
D Hardy 316. D's Nuts.
He's going to appreciate the next RVDology, which is time to drop a new one as well.
Oh, yes. Sweet. Yeah. All right. So, Joe, let's see. Joe, oh, man, I'm going to butcher this, man. Joe Utofaka 42156. Well, 4215 says RVD should sell an RVD experience when you can just pay to just smoke out and be with them even on a Zoom chat. That would be an interesting thing to do. Do a little Zoom powwow going on, I guess.
Interesting.
Something to think about.
I don't know if I want to be that accessible to where it's just me and Joe Utah fuck off. But, you know, it's a cool idea, especially if we can have a whole bunch of us.
Yeah, that's maybe like a round table of like fans and stuff like that in there.
Yeah. But we did do a few times here in Vegas. We did the trolley tour, which was fun. We had, besides some very lucky ticket buyers, we had Willie Mack. Who else was with us? Chris Bay was with us. yeah, some of the guys that were around anyway, or Katie might have invited. Who else did? I don't know, but anyway, and Nerd Bar Johnny, our friend. But we went around to a few of the dispensaries that were clients. Did a tour, and one of them has a smoking lounge because it's on Indian Reservation. That's the New Woo Lounge. Otherwise, you can't smoke on property yet, but that's about to change. They're giving licenses, a limited amount of licenses to qualified places so they can have consumption lounges here in Vegas. Yeah, so, but that was a big part of the bucket list tour.
So would that be also in casinos too, like lounge areas in casinos, or is that in certain different venues other than casinos too that you could or be able to do that in?
Yeah, it's only going to be in certain lounges that have the license to do it. Yeah, they'll be open for that specific reason.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Hey, it's funny you mentioned Willie Mack too, because I've been seeing him on MLW since I cover them. And you mentioned him earlier, too, when you were during Double or Nothing weekend, how you ran into him and stuff.
Yeah, he lives here in Vegas, so yeah. I see him as much as I see anybody, really.
What do you think of Willie Mack's style and how he handles himself in the ring? And on top of that, too, I think, like, I remember both of you guys being in Impact at the same time and stuff. And, like, I was like, man, they would make, like, a really good tag team, too. Like, I could see you guys have a good synergy with one another, I would think.
Yeah, I like Willie. You know, he's a good guy, and he's very talented too. And I think that his style is it's good and it's interesting. I think we talked last week about wrestlers wrestling out of their realm, didn't we?
Yes.
Right. And so, you know, to that point, we were talking about such things, and I was just saying the way I was brought in, guys that were like Seth Rollins size wouldn't be picking somebody up a la powerbomb style, running across the ring and throwing them into the turnbuckle, because it just wouldn't have. That's outside of his realm. That would have been like a Mike Awesome kind of move. And we were talking about Vader doing the moonsault. Sabu, you know, we used to tell him, you know, that was out of his realm. You should leave that to the other guys. And that was what we were talking about. With Willie, it's interesting that he looks like he couldn't do those moves, but he can. Mm-hmm. And he's not like a big guy like Vader, but he's got a big belly, and he doesn't necessarily look like a gymnast in ready for his Olympic tryout or anything. So that contrast is something that's extra special, entertaining about him. Seeing him fly around, you know, flip himself upside down, and just be able to go, you know, a long athletic match as if he was in the condition of a gymnast, you know what I mean? So for him, I think that his style works, and that it's cool. I don't think he's taking anything from anybody in the business as far as him wrestling outside of his realm. Mike Awesome came up in some chat recently that I was looking at somewhere, and somebody was talking about this very thing. You know, they didn't mention realm, but however they put it, they were talking about a big guy. You know what it was? It was not Moose. I felt this way about Moose, but they were saying that there was a big guy that oh man, it was on the tip of my tongue.
Impact?
And
is it from Impact?
Maybe.
Is it Madman Fulton? Because he does some crazy
stuff. No, but the thing was, I don't know, whatever it was, it could have been, you know, BS, but it just said, you know, what happened to so-and-so's. Oh, you know what? Someone was being asked an interview, I think, about what happened to so-and-so's career. And I don't even know if it's true or not. Oh, you know what it was? Matt Morgan. Someone was saying, yeah. And I don't know if it was Rip Rogers talking about him or what. So, you know, don't take that too seriously. But someone was saying that he should have just stuck to big guy moves, and he wants to show you, that he can do a moonsault and a bunch of like high flying moves, which nobody wants to see him do. That was the context of what I was reading. It reminded me of the conversation we had. Somebody's response was, "What about Mike Awesome? He was a really big guy, and he didn't wrestle like a big guy at all." And I just wanted to comment on that. He definitely wrestled like a big guy.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what was so amazing, because he would run, dive over the top rope, and land like hitting a clothesline with somebody against the guardrail, like boom, that brutal footage of him and JT Smith where he folds him backwards over the guardrail. And what makes that so impressive is it definitely looks like a big guy doing that move,
Right. Yeah.
It's like a killer whale coming out of the water and splash and just water going everywhere. That was Mike Awesome's style, and he wasn't doing a bunch of backflips and landing on his feet and stuff like that. He wasn't taking clotheslines and wanting to do a flipping bump. So, to that, I got to say, it was amazing that he would do that move. He didn't do very many flying moves, and that's what made him still look like a really big guy doing the moves. It looked, action-packed, violent, hurtful, damaging. And it was, I can't believe that somebody would say that he didn't wrestle like a big guy.
He was selective, I think, like when he did pull that stuff out, it was like, hey, once in a while. And when he did it, to your point, it's like, damn, it's like, it kind of fit in his realm in a lot of ways. He made it fit in his realm from that.
It's not like you give him a backdrop and he's like flipping and landing on his feet and jumping up and doing head scissors, and it was like you said, it was when he did it, it was like, holy shit, everybody like, oh my God, why would he do that? He doesn't have to do that. He's so big. And so that's a world of difference. And it comes across that way to me, even if not to that fan, or if they just, really didn't word it well. But holy crap, Mike was super big, and he would one thing that always impressed me was he would stand in the corner with his back to the turnbuckle, and he'd pick the guy up on his back, maybe pick him up like
electric chair.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
And then he would walk up the turnbuckle, like step up on the second rope backwards behind him, and the risk factor with that is like so high that you're going to slip or trip even without carrying a body on top of you. So that's why I thought he was a great representative of ECW heavyweight champion, because he would take those chances just to really annihilate his opponent, and then go off the top and pick the guy up over his shoulders and bam, just bring him down and smash him. And it was definitely a big guy move. It was like high risk where he didn't need to do that, but he was extreme. So he was there to entertain the awesome fans.
And he fit the bill, brother. It was like, I remember just, growing up and watching ECW, and not only his matches with Masato Tanaka, right? But he had his presence as a champion was good. It was a good contrast to you, because you were the TV champ at the time, and what you were saying in one of our earlier episodes, you were hoping that you guys would kind of collide at some point, Yeah,
after I wanted us to both be like separate pedestals that kept pushing the company up and building the company up, so that when we finally got there, all eyes would be on us. ECW would be at its biggest growth, which it always was. It was scaling up and up. But I wanted to, no big hurry, wait till the moment was really organic, and then clash and have those two styles come together. Title versus title. That was my hopes.
That would have been big money for sure. Cool. Well, you mentioned it too. Him taking that kind of like high risk kind of maneuver when it comes to the electric chair drop off the turnbuckle. There's been some kind of high risk moves that people have been talking about this past weekend and stuff like that. The one that was the big takeaway was Will Ospreay versus Kenny Omega, and that's just happened at Forbidden Door 2 on Sunday. We watched a clip here. Rob, what did you kind of think of that execution and everything to that aspect of just knowing your experience of all that?
Should we show it or no?
Probably we shouldn't show it up. Probably people know what it is, so I don't want to get flagged for anything, you know.
So what I saw, you know, the one dude had the guy's arms, picked him up like he was going to give him a tiger driver. Yep. or a tiger bomb, as it's also called, and instead kind of let him his form be compromised halfway, so that when he dropped him down, it was like right on his head. So it was a very dangerous bump. It was a dangerous maneuver, whether or not. Kenny was taking Will Ospreay.
Ospreay delivered it, and Kenny took it on it. Landed on his head. Mm-hmm.
So I, you know, either way, dangerous. I'm not gonna shame anybody for it because I don't know. I'm not going to act like I know what I don't know, you know?
Exactly.
I'm not going to assume anything. I know that because I was so flexible and because I always wanted to put everything into all of my bumps and because my style is so action-oriented, I used to always tell people, like, if they give me a back suplex, to go ahead and, like, throw me on my back of my neck and have my knees, you know, overshot and have my knees bounce off the mat while I'm landing on the back of my head. And you know, I did that to guys like Jericho. I did that to guys in All Japan, and they would really take advantage of it, you know, so they would like really put a lot into it and like wham. And even if it did hurt sometimes, my ego would never let me expose that. So I would just be like, send it in, brother. You know, you're not going to hurt me. And they would grab me. Sometimes grab me like they're going to do a German suplex, but throw me so that I get some air. And then wham, I'd land like on the back of my head, curled up in a ball, and my knees would like hit the mat. Boom. And I would just stay like that in a ball. And it's very possible that, people could have looked at that in a similar way, and they could have thought that the wrestler that did that to me, they could have, you know, dangerous, sure, but careless, not necessarily. Who knows?
Right. And like those two worked together multiple times before. And not that, I mean, for me, I mean, geez, it looked fucking dangerous as hell. Like I would not, you know, want that done, but like, you don't know, you know, it's just like, okay, well, you know, necessarily is the risk worth the reward when it comes to all that stuff? It's just like that's a debatable thing along a lot of people.
Did anybody go to take a stretcher ride? Anyone go to the hospital afterwards? Then the risk is probably worth the reward. It looked pretty fucking good. It's got its talking. Good job. It's good for the business.
Yeah,
it's a physical job.
The reports were afterwards. Kenny remained unscathed for the most part from the match, and both guys were fine, and you know, no injuries after that. So I wanted to ask too, it's kind of in the same realm. I hear from a lot of wrestlers too, that like the use of German suplexes in matches and everything like that. I want to say it was Kurt Angle or Kevin, maybe both. They were both saying that once those started getting into the business more, you'd see a lot more broken necks. Do you think that has kind of a correlation with a lot of things, or what is your thoughts on like the German suplex in general?
I like the German suplex. Mm-hmm. It's actually a go-to that I would do in a real life situation more so than I would in a match. You know what I mean? And I remember when I was young and being tested in the ring a few times. I remember, you know, getting behind them and boom, dropping them on their neck and putting the issue to rest right away. So it's a great move, and it's pretty when someone does a bridge, you know, and holds it. It's not, to me, one of the most dangerous moves. Some people do look like they really don't take care of their opponents and really throw them hard and fast on their head. And of course, that would be a different situation than just asking about a move. German suplex is awesome, but I could probably take any move and like really put a lot into it and you know, say the same thing about how that could hurt people. But I've never had a problem with it. One of the moves I hate to take is that fucking Alabama Jamma.
Oh, geez. What Bob Holly used to do, where he would like the big elevated spine buster almost, where he grab your legs and then
yes, sir. Yeah. I don't mind telling you, my whole career, I never learned how to not get killed by that move. I just never wanted to tell the guys that did it to me, but it always sucked. Dill Wilkes used to do that in All Japan, the Patriot.
Yeah.
So, and when he would do it, wham, it's so stiff, you're falling backwards onto your head, so there's not much you can do to break the momentum. Best bet you can have is to have try to have the impact distributed throughout whatever of your shoulders you can get to hopefully hit the mat at the same time. But either way, you're just going to get rocked. And like every time someone would do that to me, it'd ring my bell, it'd knock the wind out of me. And I would just be like, oh, you motherfucker. But then I'd just be like, all right, well, I ain't going to feel too bad if I send that kick into the corner now.
Right? I won't feel that upset now.
Yeah. The German suplexes, though, you know, that was always, I like that move. I'm a fan.
Is there any other moves that you were like, I don't want to take that either? I'm not a fan of taking that.
Yeah, sure. I'm sure there's been plenty, but for different reasons too. You know, like nowadays, the guys, this new generation that doesn't understand anything about kayfabe, you know, they do moves that don't make sense to me in my mind. I've turned down some of that stuff because I'm just like, dude, what? Come on. One example that comes to mind was this was in Ireland, and this was a few years ago. But this dude, and you may have seen this, I guess it's been done, not to me, but the idea was that I'm standing in the corner looking away from the ring, and dude is going to reach up under my legs and grab my head and pull my head down. So my head goes under the second rope turnbuckle, and now I'm stuck, standing there with my head between my legs. And I'm like, what? Dude, what's keeping me there? And the answer was kayfabe. No. You know, so that comes to mind, you know, but yeah, a lot of guys want to do my moves to me, you know, and I'm not someone to say no a lot of times ever. You know, it's very rare that I say no to anything, regardless of some BS that has been put out there on the. You know, it's funny talk to me, but usually, you know, it's like, dude, if you believe in you, then you know I believe in you. But you know, if it's something where where I have to have an instruction manual just to take your move. You know, that happened one time too. I remember in England, and dude was like, "Yeah, so I got you. You know, it's like I have you in a hammer lock, and then I spin you around this way and duck your head down, and then I grab this arm and I put this arm and I put my leg over on this arm, and then we spin around this way, and then I come up under here, and when I bring you around this way, and I'm like, can you just do the move to me, dude, or no?"
Yeah. Just do it. I'm not playing fucking Twister here.
I did not smell what he was cooking.
No. Oh, well, somebody else who did a wild move, and this just happened yesterday. We're recording on Thursday here, and Dynamite was on last night, and Sting, who we mentioned on a couple episodes ago, was in the main event with Chris Jericho in a tag match, tag with Darby Allin, Chris Jericho tag with Sammy Guevara. But then I showed you the clip of Sting making that big leap from the ladder inside the ring where Darby Allin was there and the referee was there as well. But then he took the dive to Sammy Guevara on the table. It was a wild move, even for like a modern wrestler, like a younger wrestler to do. But Sting did it. Wanted to get your thoughts on that too, especially the table, all that aspect of going into it with Sting.
I thought it looked good, dude.
Yeah.
You got, it was dark. I couldn't see a lot of it to really study it and analyze it, to be honest. I didn't, but I don't want to tear it apart anyway because it looked good, and it was probably a thrill for him, I would imagine, because that was, seems like it would be, and I think the crowd extra appreciates that shit because of his age.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes it even cooler that he would do that, and it wasn't on 15 people. It was on like one dude and 2 tables, and I saw one of them broke, not the other one, and hopefully everybody was okay. But that was pretty extreme.
Yeah, I know. He's been like, that's kind of been his calling card in AEW. A lot of times he'll do some like wild jumps and things like that, where it's like, wow, Sting is like, it's because you would think about it. We talked about like Seth Rollins doing like out of his realm moves when he did the turnbuckle powerbomb to Sting like 10 years ago, and we thought he was done, like out of that was it for Sting. But here he's kind of picks and chooses moments to do this kind of stuff. And so,
but when he got the TNA Hall of Fame induction and was giving that speech, he was talking about how he thought he was done before then, and that his back was already out and he was ready to retire, and that what's her name?
Dixie?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Dixie and her husband, actually, the way I remember the story was the husband mostly talking to Sting on the phone, like, hey, we need you to come in. We're doing just a pay-per-view basis only, every week. It's boom, boom, boom. And he was like, oh, my back, I think I'm done. And they were like, no, we'll give you this much money. And he was like, all right, I'll come in for a while. And
yeah,
that was the story then. So I always will think of Sting like that. And that was forever ago, man. That was 2010. So
yeah, over 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. So.
And he's still going, and it's like, and I think Darby's a really good compliment to him, Darby Allin and stuff, and so it's like,
awesome.
Yeah, and so there's rumors that he's done this year. Like this will be his last year. I think his contract is up with AEW at some point, and if that's the case, man, it's been a hell of a way to sign off.
Yeah. I used to think I was gonna retire like a few years ago. I can't remember. I don't know. I didn't put a whole lot of thought into it. I just kind of figured, I'm semi-retired and I'll probably just, not take bookings anymore eventually or whatever. But now I don't think I ever will. I mean, why bother? I'll probably be like Dory Funk Jr. and just not retire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? And it's kind of something I've noticed too is Hogan in interviews and stuff like that. Obviously, he's like pretty messed up and he's had a lot of surgeries and work done and things like that. But he'll always kind of leave the door open and create that intrigue for fans, even if possibly he's not going to do stuff like that. He just leaves it open. He's like, never say never, brother. And so it's just like, hey, it kind of keeps the intrigue of wrestling. That's what I like about wrestling.
Yeah, and for sure. As much as I pride myself on being genuine and honest, and I like to set an example by the way I live, I wouldn't want to retire and then come back 2 years later and wrestle again like everybody does, know. So, but I don't know that I would miss it, and that's why I thought it'd be easy to do before, because people always ask, do you miss it? But like, no, I mean, I'm still doing it. Maybe if I didn't do it and I knew I wasn't going to do it again, maybe then I would have a different, for sure I would have a different perspective, whatever it is then. But instead, it's the opposite. I'm like, I have one match coming up for sure. I might have 3 before then that are on the maybe developmental table, let's say. So we'll see what happens there. But that's my thoughts on retiring anyway. Well, but if people ask me, like let's say I'm at a gas station or whatever, and just for whatever reason, that's a scenario where people could see RVD. It is. If someone's like, hey man, hey, didn't you used to wrestle? You know, I don't bother correcting them, you know. I'm just like, yeah, dude. Yeah, what's your name? Yeah, man. Oh, man. Yeah, man, you were the best. And, you know, unless they say, how long you been retired? You know, then usually I'll be like, well, actually, you know, I'm not. I'm
still going. Do you feel like part of that is you have a healthy balance of life, like in general, where it's just like, hey, I'm enjoying my life outside of wrestling. I don't need wrestling to kind of define me or define what I'm doing in with my life. Where a lot of wrestlers, like it's hard to get out of that spotlight and find the way. But you find you're in that good zone of like, hey, I've got a good life outside of wrestling, but I can still wrestle if I want to, and that's kind of a good thought too and a good vibe.
Maybe I don't know. I don't think that that's a huge. I mean, it's a big part of why my priority list has the contents that it does, because I have a very happy life, and I have something called fulfillment, which is something that I need to dissect for everybody. Not a lot of people have it. They have restlessness instead, which causes a competitive world, which is looked at as being good, not necessarily from all points of view, like RVDs. But I think also just that wrestling in general for wrestlers, at least traditionally, is all they want to do. It's like you used to have to eat, sleep, breathe it. You used to have to want it more than the other 30 guys that you're looking at that you're trying to beat out, you know, to get the job. And it wasn't a business that you could just walk into. You used to have to prove yourself that you're even tough enough, and that you were going to protect the business, and things that that now, you know, some of the tests you get sued for now. It's just, but I think that because of that, I mean, I think of guys like Sabu. I can't imagine him having another job. He's a wrestler. His you know, he worshipped his uncle, the Sheik, and loved serving him, carrying his bags, learning from him, and then he's loved his whole career. And now that he can't wrestle anymore, he can like do appearances, you know. Fortunately, his brand has some value because he's been seen doing some amazing stuff. He has a lot of fans, but he doesn't have any other interests. It's not like he's gonna write a screenplay or produce a movie or open up a business even. You know, he's a wrestler, and to me he represents a typical mindset of a wrestler. And you know, when you think about it, since we all did have to really want it more than anything, to make myself included, you know, when I was 16, 17, 18, 25, probably, forget it. You know, they try and stop me. I'm making this happen. But I talk about this all the time. As an adult, I have reprogrammed myself, and I feel like part of that is something that you do also during your career, you know, during the lifespan of your career. So not just going from a kid thinking, you know, you drop 50 cents under your pillow and wake up, the tooth fairy visited you during the night. You go from thinking that to then you're an adult and you reprogram yourself to think, hey, that comes from us. I'm going to do that to my kid. I think in your career span, the lifespan of that, the things that you originally do it for, you remember those, but you have to adapt, or else you don't have a plan for success. It's not a plan that is set up for growth. If you stay in that same mindset. I mean, imagine like if originally it was get all the ring time you can, you know. You can get booked twice a night. Forget what they call you, what they're doing with you. Take the book and take the booking. Take that book and you need ring time. Can you imagine if you never stopped that and you're wrestling like 20, 30 years and you're wrestling for every indie little show? Yeah, there's a show at the car lot. I got to make it. You know,
gotta go. It's Dollar Dog Night. I got to be there.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think it's more that they get it, because it's like I would miss being around. Like if I never got to see any of the boys, never did another convention signing, or went to a wrestling show, I think I would miss that. I'd be like, man, that's a lot of the guys. I miss seeing them. They were cool. Guys that I'm happy to see. Maybe not as much as most people, but I would feel that.
Yeah, for sure. No, and I think that's kind of the aspect that kind of lingers, I'd imagine, with wrestling and just with anything too, is like that bond and kinship, that you have with one another. And it's, if to take that away, I think would be a little bit more. And
typically, and of course, this may have been more true the further back in time you go, but typically the boys would adopt each other as their family and kind of put their home life on hold, back on the back burner. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Buy wife and kids, and then from there they're on the road for a few weeks. Whatever happens. You know what I mean? They love each other, the guys. Oh my God, the adventures we have, and a lot of them live for that bro time. But definitely a lot of the guys know a different side of a lot of husbands than their wives know in their business.
Yep, absolutely. I hear about that a lot too. All right, somebody that we got a wrestler spotlight we have this week again. And the person we're talking about is going to be Taz. So,
Brother Taz.
So when did you first meet Taz?
I think I met Taz in WCW. So this is early '93. I just picture him being there. Like I remember seeing him one time, and he had the fro. And I don't know why I feel like I talked to him like we had a mutual person that we both knew. So it was probably Sabu, if he knew Sabu way back then. But for me, WCW was December '92 through May of '93. So it would have had to have been in that time period.
Wow. Okay.
The Tasmanian Devil.
Yes. When he's like the Tasmaniac and all that stuff.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Way back when.
Very different look too. If you listeners or viewers haven't seen a picture of him back then, it's much different than what the Taz you got accustomed to in ECW.
That was more than 30 years ago.
Yeah. Well, how'd you guys first get along when you first met?
When I just met him right then, it was just like in passing,
I
think saw him, and it was just like, oh yeah, boom, what you like? How you doing? Whatever. Hey, good luck. Something like that, real quick. Boom, boom, pick a hand. I don't know.
Well, how about when you got more into ECW and you guys shared a locker room and everything like that more so?
So my first impression of him then was that he was nuts. That was my first impression of him. Yeah. And if you recall, I've explained how like Sabu brought me in and showed me around the dressing room and told me like, he said, most of these guys, a lot of them don't work except for here or a couple of promotions right here in town. So they think they're better than they are, but those guys over there, they suck. Those guys, they're all right, but they think they're better, whatever. During this time, the first time I remember noticing Taz, we dressed in this big warehouse for the floats that they had there.
Oh my God.
Mayfair.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about.
And that's what the Viking Hall or what's it called now? The Address Arena, 1223.
Yeah, the 2300 Arena. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 2300. So that's what it was anyway. It was a place where they stored all these big floats, and so our dressing room was a big open room when the ceiling was way up there. There was steps that went up to a second level, and that was still visible, you know, because of the ceiling space and stuff, so you could see everything. And then you went through like a little passageway, and there was a much bigger area where the floats actually were, and there was like an outhouse back there. That was what we had to use if we had to pee or something at first. And that's where I met Rey Mysterio. I was walking out there one time, and he was with a fan, the dude that used to be in the front row with the dreadlocks, and, that dude with the dreadlocks, who lots of crazy stories, not several anyway, with that dude, but he had the loudest weed. Like I'm gonna go to the outhouse. I was like, whoa, and I was just like turning. I looked, and there was like a little thing where there was like a second level that dropped down, and you could kind of like see up. You can see in between. And Rob, hey, do you smoke weed? I was like, do I? But back through the door into where everyone's dressing, Taz would be surrounded literally by his guys, Team Taz. He had how many were there? 6 guys, maybe, or so, and they had orange jackets on, Team Taz, and they stood in a circle around him, and he stood in the middle, and he was getting it. This is in the dressing room, and he would get himself warmed up, you know, just, you know, like getting warmed up and like rocking back and forth and getting all tensed up before the show. And I remember, like, sometimes if I had to talk to him, I would have to go through them, you know, and they would have to tell Taz, who's right behind him, tell Taz, hey, you know, RVD wants to talk to you. And they would have, it was intense, and also I thought it was crazy. And I've been on Taz's radio show. And we talked about this. He doesn't remember it at all, or he doesn't remember it that way anyway. So that, you know, that's really funny because that's how it was.
How about that? It feels like almost like a fucking nightclub, like a speakeasy you have to go into where it's like, what's that kind of shit.
Yeah.
So when did the heat between you two start? Was there like a specific incident that caused problems between you two? Like when you pinned Sabu not long after you came into ECW, or was it a gradual heat that kind of like we're kind of not vibing very well?
I think maybe it was all of the above, you know, but I wouldn't be surprised if we all had different understandings of what was going on. I don't know, but mostly I would hear from Sabu, you know, and I rode with Sabu, and Sabu at that time liked to talk about Taz the entire trip. I don't know why. It's just sometimes it's like that. He would imitate his voice, you know, brother, they better not be orange, you know, and we would laugh, and we thought it was so funny. Like all day we would talk about him, and like all day there was like, you know, it was obvious that Sabu must have had some respect for him, you know, but and then at the same time we would laugh about everything. And I don't know why, like Gary Albright was like that about Johnny Ace and All Japan. It was like all day, except for that one had a lot more negative energy behind it than Sabu's. But I would hear from Sabu a lot of times that he would tell me that Taz told him something, you know, Taz is mad that you beat me. You know, no one ever beat me since I've been here, and we were building up, you know, to this thing. I mean, Taz are going to do. He wanted to be the first guy to beat me, so you know he's kind of mad. But it was just right. The timing was just right. You'd be like, whatever, you know. I'd hear little comments like that, and then they built up, and they started getting insulting, you know, because then when Sabu would tell me the story, he would always have, when he's quoting Taz, he always referred to me as your boy, you know.
Oh, okay.
Tell your boy, he better watch himself, you know. And then I'll be like, he said that? What? So yeah, he was really stirring up the pot the whole time. Sabu was.
Was he?
Well, I mean, it was maybe true, but he was the one that was telling me.
Yeah,
you know,
sure.
And I got to where I was like, man, does this guy, I mean, Taz think he's gonna just like wipe his feet with me? Like, that's how it felt. It sounded like he must have no respect for me and think for some reason that I'm a pushover. Like I'm gonna have to like really hurt him bad. That's what was in my mind. Like, I mean, this guy, I got to take him down from the cloud that he's on. Like a really far. I mean, I had some bad thoughts in my mind. I don't get that. I don't get that way often, but I was convinced. After a while, especially because like Sabu, when it really got. I'm just putting a couple things together. There was one time when Sabu was like, would you just kick his ass? He goes, will you just kick his ass? I'm sick of him talking shit about you. I go, what, he's still talking about me? And Sabu said that he's like, that he was saying, man, I'm going to have to whoop your boy next week, and this and that. And I was like, what? He said that? And I couldn't wait to see him the next week. And Sabu was like, will you just call him? And I don't remember if I did call him or we texted him, but we communicated over the weekend or over the week. Like, I can't remember even how we did, but we went back and forth to where it's like, dude, when I see you in Midtown at this really shitty flea market, it's on. I can't wait to see you. I'm gonna shut you up permanently. I mean, thank God that didn't happen. But
I gotta ask, how much?
This is just a build, bro. This is just a build.
Yeah. Well, how much? So Sabu was having a pretty good time with this, like stirring the pot. Would you say? Was he like was it kind of a funny?
I don't know that he. I mean, stirring the pot doesn't mean that you're adding to it necessarily.
Yeah. But
I don't know. I don't think he was. I don't know. I don't think he was.
Okay, because
he would quote. He would make quotes. Like he would say it like in Taz's voice.
Yeah,
brother. Your boy's gone too far. I'm gonna have to teach him a lesson, man. When I see him next week, I think I'm gonna have to teach him a lesson. And it just felt like I was so disrespected. And when we made it to that show in Midtown or Midway or whatever. And then when I saw him, he was just like, I was just like, yeah, man, let's go do this. And in my mind, I mean, I was really looking to do some not zenful things, you know what I mean? I was willing to put my zen aside for the purpose of taking care of business. And then Taz was like, he got real personal. I was like, brother, he goes, I know we both said some stuff that we didn't mean this week. He said his grandma died and he was really sad. And he's like, I don't feel like even being here tonight. Boom, boom, boom. And he opened up his heart, and it was like, I don't think I said anything I didn't mean, but I get, that this ain't happening now. And so I guess he's saying, let's forget about it. There's more serious stuff in life, whatever. But then it built up again after that. And what I remember as the final point, besides continuing to go through Sabu, I don't know why they talked all the time. But we were in New Orleans and we had this three-way match. Bam Bam Bigelow was part of it. And anyway, I had already had a match where Taz caught some potatoes. We had a match, he was offended by the match because he was like, he was like, brother, I've never had anybody like you busted my lip, you crushed my larynx, you hurt my shoulder. And it got, it was a point where he didn't know what he wanted to do, but he was hot. Yeah. He felt like someone had really taken it to him in that match. And that was at Philly in ECW. And Chris Candido and Perry Saturn were really like massaging him up. stirring the pot, to go back to that expression. They were saying, bro, RVD totally didn't take care of you. You know what I mean? Like he threw that, and he kept coming back to me. And this is the way that I was trained. You know, I was like, you're right, dude. You know what? You owe me. I said, go ahead, hit me right now. He said, what? And I said, go ahead. I got it coming to me. You know, no, let's make it even. You owe me one. I'll take it. And he said, no, it's not going to be like that, but you got something coming. And after that, then we have the New Orleans match. There's a spot in there, 1, 2, and I'm coming in to make the save. And right when I get in to make the save, Taz comes out of nowhere and then bam, punches me in the face. And then I took offense to that because of the build-up and because I had apologized, I think, when I hit him, and I didn't get one back, you know, and so I was already in my feelings, you know, about that. And then Paul and Tommy Dreamer, I think Lance too, Storm, told me that when he came through the curtain and I was still in the ring, they said that he picked up a cinder block and threw it into the wall and said, I'm going to kill Van Dam. And I was just like, what? Because he's gone now from the building. Like, yeah, what? You couldn't have told me that when he was here? I was like, are you serious? Like, I was like, forget it. I was like, forget it. And that's why I was like, I'm done talking. I don't want to yell. I don't want to push. I just want to fight, you know. So the best way to get there is just to walk up and smack someone across the face and be like, dude, come on, this is happening. Let's just do it.
Let's just do it.
Yeah.
All right. So before we get to that, so Chris gave me some notes here. Maybe this is around that time or something to that effect. But let's see here. When people talk about
the next 8 questions whenever I do an interview.
Right. When people talk about your heat with Taz, they almost always refer to certain incidents, which we'll cover, so that's what we're talking about. But this particular one, you never talked about. You and Taz would wrestle each other in a match that happened at the arena and aired on ECW TV in late 1996. He says, you went outside of the ring, got a chair, came in, hit him in the head with it. You then whipped him into the corner. He came out, and you threw a chair into his face, and it hit him directly in the face, hard. And as Taz laid there, you did the double thumbs, which might have been your first time you did it, actually, Chris noted. And then Taz then crawled to the corner, and you did a running drop kick to the chair. He protected himself on that one, but then you put the chair on his chest and walked away. And as you were walking away, Taz threw the chair at you in what appeared to be a very angry fashion. You then ran at him, and he single-legged you to the ground, mounted you, and started punching you. Several of them looked like shoe punches, he noted. He says you rolled him over and hit him a few times, stood up, picked the chair up, and threw it down on his face in the corner of the chair and hit him right in the face. You remember this? And was there some problems there?
That's exactly what I was just talking about.
So that's exactly what you were just talking about. Okay.
And so that's exactly what Candido and Perry Saturn were telling him. You know, dude, he just picked that chair up and just threw it like right in your face. You know, and like totally, like, you know, like that was a dick move. Like he totally, you know, that was unprofessional. Whatever, you know, can't let him get away with that. Boom, 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 that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's exactly the same moves he's talking about.
How about that? You and Chris are on the same wavelength here. So, man. Okay. So in 1998, the FTW World Title was introduced for Taz. Did you have an opinion on that belt? Like, did you think it was necessary? Do you think it was a cool added gimmick? Where'd you kind of lay out on that one?
Well, being in that competitive state of mind that I was in, you know, and being in the Sabu car where we would laugh at him all day and stuff, I just adopted Sabu's opinion, which was like, Taz doesn't have a belt, so he went and had his own made. Look at that. It doesn't mean anything if you get your own belt made. What the fuck? So at the time, you know, that's how I saw it. You know, to be completely honest, that's how I saw it back then. And then, of course, when he got that, it also, to me, represents the time when they changed the looks of the belts. And then all the FTW and then the new tag belts, everything was a new look from this company called Jamar. and so they wanted me to take the new TV championship silver belts and to give back the old school television championship that I won from Bam Bam Bigelow.
Oh,
yeah. And
so how'd you feel about that? You did not want to do that?
I didn't want to do it. I really liked the old school look. I thought it was hardcore. Plus, I just didn't want to agree with Taz. and I kept saying, okay, yeah, I'll bring it next week. And then I'd forget, and then, okay, yeah, no, I'll bring it next week, and I'd forget. But I was doing that on purpose. Like first I was wearing my old belt, bringing that and still wearing it. And then when they, Taz would be like, hey, Rob, how come you're not wearing the new belts? And then eventually he was like, it kind of looks funny. Like, oh, all of us have this belt look, and you're the only one not wearing it. And so I started wearing the new one, but then I left the old one at home. And that's when I'd be like, oh, yeah, I'll bring it next week. And I'd forget it. But the thing was, what it took was Taz was like, how come you're not, I forgot about this. This is important. How come you're not wearing that belt? And I said, because it's silver. You got the TV championship that I'm main eventing the shows with, that I'm making the value rise to compete with the heavyweight championship belt. And you got me a silver belt, and the FTW belt is gold. That's why I don't wear it. And he goes, oh, well, you should have said something. And so then they traded the silver TV championship belt for the gold television championship belt. And then I felt obligated. And so then that's when I started wearing that one, and then conveniently forgot the old school one at home.
Oh, okay. I think that's pretty neat, actually, because it's like, hey, that's attention to detail right there, even, silver, gold, bam. It means something.
Especially when you're really in your feelings on that competitive level, where you really got to watch out for yourself and your image, and how everything reflects your whole the way that you're presented to people, the way that they perceive you. Everything is a factor, so you got to be cognizant of that.
Yes, got to be aware. What we were saying about CM Punk, it's like it helps to have like an ego to an extent, and like get you further on. So
you have to even to think that you have a chance to. I think, right. Even let alone to kind of promo and try and convince us. What's really hard? When you're going down and you got to do a promo convincing everybody that they can believe in you. You're not going to let them down. You're going to beat Randy Orton tonight.
Yeah,
you're going to beat Randy Orton tonight. People can count on you. You're their man, and you're going down. Now go put some heart into that. See how fun that is. You know what I mean? Like,
well, that's a tough thing too, because you don't want to, as a babyface, you don't want to like, hey, I'm going to guarantee a win or anything like that, because it's like you're a babyface and you're not delivering. So it's like, man, how do you come up with it? And not only that, but channel the passion that you're like, the conviction that you're going to win.
It got harder and harder and harder for me, especially when I felt like we were telling the same story, like RVD. I had some great matches with Randy Orton, so I wrestled him a lot, but it seems like it was kind of the same story, kind of like, hey, Randy's the future and RVD, maybe not so much. And same thing when I wrestled like Seth Rollins, my 2013 run, I went over everybody. That was awesome. I don't think I had a win on Shield. Not that I can remember, but probably not. But then 2014, everyone that I had beat got a chance to wipe their feet on me. And so that was part of my 2014 run. But I wrestled Seth so many times, and Dean Ambrose so many times. And it was like I don't believe that I'm going to win. How am I going to tell these people on this promo and make them? How am I going to make them believe in me when I don't believe in me anymore?
Right. You know, I don't get it anymore, man. It's just not going to happen.
I'm going to beat his ass for a couple seconds.
For a couple seconds. Oh, man. Well, how do you think Seth Rollins is doing today, real quick? Just as on a regular viewpoint.
Well, I mean, I don't know currently what his situation is, except that he's had a hell of a career, obviously, and the WWE seems to really love him, and hopefully he likes being married to a top female talent in the business too, because that can make life cool. I know from personal experience, being married to a girl that's a wrestler, like it really helps being having the same views on a lot of things by default.
Yeah, and somebody that you can relate to on a lot of level with that. That you wouldn't be able to share with like somebody like a me or Joe Schmo that's out there. So that
or even like another wife that's not in the business or in the entertainment business or familiar with it. The entertainment business in general is like a whole nother universe, and a lot of times I forget when I'm on the other side of the fence, like around normal people, that they're not exposed to like the whole reality that is my world.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely true too. All right, we've arrived here. It's the famous incident, the pick a hand incident. What happened? What led to it? What led you to decide to confront him about it? And why did you decide on pick a hand? Walk through us what happened that day.
Well, in order to tell that story, I have to go back before that, because in order to answer why pick a hand, that was all of a sudden Billy Jack just popped in my mind, which you don't know, but famous fighter from way back in the day, and he says, I'm going to put this foot right there on that side of your face, right there, and there's nothing you're going to be able to do about it. The guy goes, oh yeah, and he goes, wham. Really famous scene. That I'm inspired by his pacifism, Billy Jack. But see, the whole story is that Randy, the music guy, had disrespected me. And he did in such a way that I felt that it warranted a slap. And the wives used to sit behind the music guy in ECW, that part of the crowd, stands, chairs, bleachers, whatever. And the wives would sit together and talk or whatever. And my evil ex started telling me after the shows that he was getting weird with her, and telling him telling her, Randy, music dude, is telling my evil ex that his wife has a crush on her.
Really?
Right? So that's skimming boundaries, you know what I mean? Like to go to somebody's, and so already, I got an eyebrow cocked, you know what I mean?
Right. You're already
all right, that's not cool. I'm gonna have to talk to him, and I'm gonna have to find out what's up. I'm gonna have to have a word with him. Well, before I get a chance to do that, another show passes, another week, and then my evil ex says that he's been talking more about it, and that he says that he's gonna bring some nude pictures of his lady for her to see next week. And so in my mind, I'm thinking, that's cool. You know what? I'm gonna smack this dude.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go up to him and I'm gonna smack him really hard, and then that's gonna fix it. He's gonna know what it was for. It's gonna straighten him out. I don't need to hurt. I don't want to break his nose. I don't want to put him in the hospital. He doesn't deserve that. That's how I felt. That's totally how I felt. So the next week, I got to the building. I walked right up to him, and I said, "Hey, Randy, pick a hand." He said, "What?" I went, "Smack." And I smacked him across his face. And I said, "You know what that was for?" And he says, "Yes." I said, "Okay, then." And I turned around, I started walking away, and he goes, but Mr. Monday Night. And I turned around, I said, "Randy, shut your mouth or you got more coming. Right now we're cool. Do you understand?" And I turned and walked away, and it settled everything. Everything was cool, and he didn't talk to me until like several weeks later, once I allowed it to be known that I was comfortable and it was cool to talk to me again, and we're going to let that pass.
Yeah. Hey, so it did solve it, huh?
So I told you, as this huge buildup between me and Taz was going on, I was feeling that, man, this guy must totally, for some reason, think that I'm just going to be a blowover and he's going to, wipe his feet on me, which, like he's going to regret he's never going to think that about me again. You know what I mean? I had, in my mind, I had some really damaging, violent thoughts building up during that. And then I thought, after he allegedly threw the cinder block into the wall, said, "I'm going to kill Van Dam." After he allegedly did that, I knew, like, yeah, next time I see him, I don't want to talk. I don't, I don't want to push. I don't want to anything. Let's just do it as soon as possible. Like if I could have, I would have stopped at his house a day early. You know what I mean? But I was going to see him there, and so I thought, that if he really thinks he's a god, I'm gonna treat him like the fucking music guy.
Yeah,
that's going to be so insulting to him. That's what I thought in my mind. So.
Did we get around about the music guy? Like that you did pick a hand with music guy?
Yeah. But I think people forgot about it now, though, because I think that doing it to Taz outshadowed it. Mm-hmm. But everybody knew, though.
Okay.
Yeah, and ECW was very small like that, where everybody kind of knew everybody's thing,
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, so the next time that's why, like, on the way to the building, Sabu was imitating Taz like always, like, "Brother, you better not be wearing orange. I own orange." The normal stuff. I was just, in my own world, like, I'm not going to tell anybody what I'm going to do because I don't want anybody to stop it. That's the last thing I want. So I didn't mention to anybody.
Not even Sabu?
No.
Okay.
No, because I didn't want anybody to stop it. Like, I really just wanted to go from here we are to we're fighting as soon as possible. And so I thought, when we got there, I looked for him, just went straight to him and thought, yeah, I'm going to treat him like the music guy because he'll be so insulted since he obviously thinks he's a god and thinks that I'm, something under the carpet. That's how I felt.
Yeah.
So that's what I went up to him and said, and I called him by his name to totally disrespect him because, that was part of what we made fun of, was we thought that he was crazy and believed in his gimmick too much, And so I thought that'd be great to just go up and said, "Hey, Peter, pick a hand." He said, "What?" Smack. And I smacked him. And what he did was he stood up and he moved his fanny pack, which is kind of in your way. A lot of times you got to move it so you can move your legs, if you're in a situation. But anyway, he moved the fanny pack and he stood up. And I said, "Okay, cool, that worked. We're fighting." And so I threw a jab at him, pop, real quick, and just boom, hit him in the mouth. And I wanted to follow up with a power punch and just like knock him out of his boots. You know what I mean? But I was noticing that he's just staring at me with his hands down. And I couldn't just punch him like that. I was like, "Dude, come on, put your hands up, dude. We're fighting." And he's like, "Rob, where's this coming from?" I was like, "Come on, Peter, you know where this is coming from. We're doing this. Put your hands up. We're fighting." And he's like, I don't understand. Like, what's going on? I said, "You know what's going on, dude. I just smacked you in your mouth. This is happening. Come on, let's do it." And it was obvious he didn't want to fight. and I knew I caught him by surprise. I mean, that was the agenda.
Yeah.
I mean, really. I mean, I could have said let's go meet out back and fight, but then he probably wouldn't have done it.
Yeah.
So anyway, I was like, "Come on, man! In front of just let's do this." And he goes, "Rob, we need to talk." And he just turned his back and he like walked out the door, and I walked out following him. And he and I had a talk out there for a long time, and then we ended up hugging it out, growing it out. I've heard a bunch of the guys. I don't even know if they were all there, but I've heard them all tell different versions of the story. But that's exactly what happened.
Wow.
Couldn't get him to fight me out there. And he was like, I don't want to get too personal, but, before he had a family tragedy before, this time he had another one.
Oh, man.
Yeah, this one, maybe even a little, it was hurtful, when he told me he was going through, and let's just say, that, afterwards, like, I didn't want to fight him. I wanted to hug him. And after that, we've always gotten along, and he's, a good dude, good business dude. And I got a lot of respect for him. And I'm glad, he had to eat shit, and his ego took an ass whipping because a lot of people, would be like, dude, you just let him slap you. That's always going to happen. There's going to be, and I've been in situations too, where I'm like, man, I let that guy talk to me like that. Should I have done?
Sure. Yeah. Everybody.
We've all been in there, but I know in the bigger picture, it's way better that nothing happened, because I know what I had in my mind was not good.
Yeah, and it's a very much like almost like it is a life experience, where it's just like, oh man, like you both kind of learn from that, and you grow as a person in those kinds of incidents.
Absolutely, yeah.
Absolutely. And no, Taz, I like Taz. I've interviewed him once, I believe, and yeah, he was great. So it's like
awesome.
Yeah, very down to earth dude, very funny, friendly. This is off topic real quick, but how do you like him as a commentator? I think he's one of the best, to be honest. If I had
no, I think he's good. Definitely. I like the little personal touch, because he can say, believe me, I felt some of those Van Dam kicks. Because he certainly has.
Well, what was Paul's reaction to all this, and how did he did he come up to you guys? Was he happy at the result, all that stuff, or how did he kind of balance out in this?
I don't remember. Most likely he put us in the ring together. That's usually what the industry would do. And definitely Paul was part of that part of the industry, where normally if two guys fight, the next week you have them wrestle each other, and it solves things pretty quick, so I think that's what happened.
Well, so Chris has here too that you would wrestle each other in what would be Taz's last pay-per-view match in ECW at November 99, and you won clean with the frog splash. Do you have memories of that match and leading up to it or anything like that?
Not specifically, no. But one thing that was cool was when Taz would come running at me, and I'd have my back to the corner, and I'd pick a boot up. I liked how he would like throw the boot up and just grab around me with my leg and like do a suplex with my leg sticking up by my head. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's like almost like a capture suplex or something like that. Like
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
When you went to the WWF in 2001, Taz would still wrestle on occasion. In fact, you and him teamed up on Raw against Kurt Angle and Chris Jericho.
We did.
And he was mainly a commentator at the time. Your guys' relationship was pretty damn good at that point then, huh?
Yeah, and obviously, before you asked me if I have memories of this one, I didn't know it happened. That sounds awesome, though.
Yeah, that sounds like a really great match, actually.
But yeah, by this time, I'm pretty sure we're cool. Yeah. I don't know when I did his radio show, but I mean, we were cool way before that. But that was when we actually talked about it, on his show, and I had to tell him same thing that I had said about the CM Punk situation, like we're all egomaniacs to do promos and talk about how I'm going to be the one that leaves that ring standing high, being high, holding my championship belt high. I mean, it takes an ego to fucking even turn that on. And the more you believe in yourself, the crazier you seem, the better chance you have of being, of really having it. The best are the craziest. I had to tell him all that too, because I mean, it's true. He didn't remember a lot of the stuff the same way that I did. So it was a cool kind of like heart to heart, And again, I'm glad that he was man enough to figure out how to get us out of a situation that I thought there was only one way out. I said something before, and I actually found a comment where it helps somebody, because I always say this. I always say, that I never feel like I've got no options, ever. I thought, and somebody said, man, that helped me out, with my situation, because I always feel like there's options. You might not like the options, but I never feel like there's only one option. But what I wanted to do was put me and that man in the middle of a fight, so that there was no option except for to fight. But obviously, like you said, it was a growing experience. I learned there was still an option, and I'm glad that he saw it, that he saw the option to get us out of that situation, because that proves it. There's always options.
That de-escalated it all,
Yeah. Yep.
Mm-hmm. What do you think about Taz's legacy overall in ECW?
He was, built like we built him, promoted him like a monster. And, he's really, secretly he's not that tall. But it worked, though. I mean, it was already like that before I got there. The crowd loved him. He's one of their favorite guys. So, I feel like he has to be up there on the Mount Rushmore with the original ECW guys. Like I said, when I got there, him and Sabu were already working on they weren't wrestling each other, but they were building this angle to hit way down the road. At least that's what Sabu was trying to do, was wait and just like I want to do with Mike Awesome, build everything, not tomorrow, but build the crowd, build the interest, all that. And anyway, the way the crowd took to him, and I was just a heel for the first time, really. Well, to this extent anyway, where I had after Sabu said not to shake his hand in the respect match, I had to get used to eating doo-doo from the crowd. You know what I mean? And so like Taz would be coming out there, and I'd be like bowing up, thinking, and then let's see what he's got, and the crowd's like, Taz is gonna kill you. They're like, what? What? Man, they really believe in this guy, and they did. It worked. What he did, he'd come up and wipe his feet. We just like leave the ring, go back to the dressing room, and leave him. He didn't even have to touch us, and boom, he get such a big pop and get over.
I remember too, like when I would be able to tune into ECW, and Taz felt like an enigma in a lot of ways, because like there wasn't things that. When I would tune in, I would never really see him wrestle. But I would always hear about him. I'm like, geez, I want to see this Taz wrestle and stuff like that. And I really didn't get a chance to see him until he went to WAF, to be honest. But like he had that kind of enigma, badass rockin' presence where, like, again, it speaks to like the diverse group of characters that ECW had, from you to, Sabu to Taz to heck. I mean, like, you even go like, to a Shane Douglas who started off, or Terry Funk coming in there. He really added to like the environment that ECW was, along with you.
Yeah. And then I think about the clips of him putting his finishing hold. He had a choke hold. It was not Taj Mahal, Taj Mahal, something. Anyway, I remember doing that to Bam Bam Bigelow, and Bam Bam went back, and they went, I think, through the ramp. Do you remember that clip?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Pretty cool. Oh, and also Taz suplexes Bam Bam over the guardrail into the crowd. Mm-hmm. ECW was not for everybody. Can you imagine how many wrestlers nowadays would like never even, but I mean, they watched it, and that's why everybody was impressed with it, because we were crazy. But man, that was definitely not a safe working environment.
Well, it was from a visual perspective too. It wasn't because like I remember a clip too. I love this clip. Like I think he's got Bam Bam in the chokehold or a Taz mission or something, and he's like flipping somebody off as he's doing it. It's just like good shit, man. It's like, man, yeah, that's the kind of stuff that like really got you going back then.
That's funny.
Yeah, how about it? All right, hey Rob. So, I almost want to table the random Van Dam match again this week. You know, so because we got. I don't know. We're running to almost an hour 30. We can do some questions, and then we got your RVDology. So, what do you think?
Your call. We also might do a live show before our next one, so maybe we could possibly also throw it on there. But I don't know if that'll fit. But yeah, I guess. Well, I don't know how long we've been talking. An hour and a half.
Hour and a half. So I think once we get the questions through, I think, and then we do our videology, I think we'll just table it. So save Chris some extra time.
Cool.
So, yeah. All right. So yes, let me pull up these questions here. They come from Instagram, and we got a couple of good ones here. Let's see. Oh, this is a perfect one. So I was just on the Click This TV, and the special guest was a Vince Russo. And so a user on Instagram asks him what he thinks about Vince Russo. I think he worked with him in TNA in 2009. Did you and Vince ever cross paths?
Yes. Not a lot. I didn't really get to know him. I automatically used to always just associate him with David Arquette being WCW champion. And so in my mind, I think about him not being healthy for the traditional business values. Yeah. I think of him putting Disco Inferno in a rubber duck on a pole match, which I don't know if that actually happened or not. I heard about it. And so I automatically think of stuff like that. But you know, that was a long time ago. And so now I think of him more as just the guy that way back in the day did that. You know what I mean? We all grow and change, and I didn't know him then, don't know him now. We did talk in TNA. He came to me one time and told me that he wanted to turn Jeff Hardy heel. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was the stupidest idea. I was like, but me and Jeff are the top baby faces. Like, we're rocking the crowds. Like, the fans are screaming for RVD and Jeff Hardy, you know? And I'm like, I thought you wait until things get stagnant until you do that. It's like, well, we're kind of at that point. Which is what I heard about me also much later from TNA Impact. So it's funny. But I was like, I was not for it. And I was like, I think that just sounds, you know, like you're taking something that works and then putting a spin on it. Why? And he said, well, Jeff is really behind it too. Like, he's really looking forward to it. And I was like, really? All right, well, shit. Do what you gotta do, you know. And that's really the only time that I remember actually really talking to him is during that time. So you know, I'm sure he probably in passing said a few things probably then when we were both working for them, but that's the only conversation that I can remember. You know, Jeff's going to be a heel, and I was like, wow, that's dumb. People love him. They want to love him. You're going to make people that want to love him hate him, which is what it was. You know, the fan kids come to the show, yay, and Jeff's spitting at him. I'm like, dude, what?
Yeah. And Jeff doesn't fit as a heel, you know? He's got that. He's almost like that. Not that he couldn't maybe pull it off, but it's almost like he's already got that connection with the fans where it's just like, and he's such a great seller too. Like, he's able to convey to the fans, like, oh man, he's fighting from underneath. And yeah, I don't know. He did turn a heel, I remember, and I was like, it's just not working.
Maybe Jeff really wanted to. He likes to get into these weird characters, and where he, like all that, where he paints his face and does all that stuff. To him, I think those, at least sometimes, are like representations of real characters that live in his mind. I think because he used to always talk about one, and I think he made
Willow?
a little.
Willow?
I think so. Yeah. Was it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Was he a scarecrow or something, or
Willow? He looked like a scare. Yeah, it looked like a scarecrow kind of gimmick almost.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it was
something else that's interesting at autograph signings, which I do a lot of. I've been told by the fans that Jeff, because Jeff will draw like the face paint and everything on the autograph, takes his time and takes a long time, even when there's a lot of people in line and stuff, and it's kind of funny. But they said that he will keep like a face for a certain amount of time, a month, 2 months, whatever it is, and then change it up. And so he keeps that autograph, linked chronologically to a certain time period when he was signing like that, and then moves on. And so like, how do you collect them all? I just thought that was, that was really interesting. That's what I've been told. So
wow.
Yeah.
I know from experience, you take your time with autographs. You do a good job with them and stuff. And,
yeah. But I mean, I can get through a line of people. I don't start drawing pictures and stuff.
You're not doing any Van Gogh shit or nothing.
not myself. I'm not that kind of an artist.
Hey, we all got our own creative side. All right. So this is might be a tough one for you, because I know like you don't kind of think in this kind of realm thing. But Boy God asks, ask him what match he regrets that never happened. Was there a certain one that's just like, man, I could have really liked to tie it up with him, whether it was ECW, WCW, you guys just didn't cross paths?
How about Mike Awesome?
Oh,
hey, let me get Mike Awesome for the win, please. Mike Awesome.
There we go. Hey, that was easy. I thought it might have just been a tough one. Let's see.
No, that's definitely a match that I would have enjoyed seeing.
You guys would have tore the house down on that one.
Yeah.
Jeez. All right, let's see. This will be the last one. Were you ever consider here? I'll get the guy's name so they give him props. Evan Neal 35 says, ask him if there were any plans for you to ever win over the Royal Rumble. Was there any conversation that you might have heard or any buzz that you might have got about winning a Royal Rumble match?
There was never any talk that I know of. None that came to my ears of me ever winning a Royal Rumble. I think I've explained on here several times, that like I always felt humbled. There was always a cycle that I went through of feeling really appreciated and then feeling not appreciated. And it was always like a cycle like that of me through my time there. And so because of that, that I never felt like they would have saw me in that kind of position. But you never know. But no, not that I know of.
Okay. Did you like the Royal Rumbles? Did you like participating in those and the aspect of it all?
So a Battle Royal is my least favorite match out of all of them.
Yeah.
Always has been. I feel like it's like too many people in the way. You can't do anything. You're trying to look busy. So I'm just going to go over and I'm going to grab your leg and I'm going to start pulling on your leg, trying to pull you over the top rope. And you're just going to grab onto the rope and hold on to the rope. I'm going to do that for a while. And then I might give up and punch you a few times, look across the ring. Hey, I'll try this guy over here. I might go over there, kick the guy, get down like I'm squatting. Oh, see if I can pick him over the rope. Oh, I can't get him. That's how I interpret Battle Royals in general. And so Royal Rumble, it's interesting the way they have the intensity spaced out with the timing of each competitor and stuff like that. But as far as me being in a match, a battle royal has always been one of my least favorites.
I could imagine too, as a talent, it's just like, oh my God, you got to work with all these people in the ring, and you got to just be more aware of your surroundings. It limits you, but then, yeah, the Royal Rumble, for certain moments, there's that aspect there's the storytelling aspect where you can kind of, open up a little more depending on, where they put you and, how many people were in the ring at the time and stuff. So yeah, it's a balance. Cool. Hey, Rob, guess what? It's time to wrap it up. Wrap it up. We got RVDology happening, as we always do.
All right. Yay.
So, Rob, man, what do you got for us this week? I will say it was assuming last week. And so before I put us on double screen here, I will say with assuming, I do a lot of assuming when it comes to text messages and stuff like that so like if whether I read it in a different context, and that's what you were saying too on Twitter, is how people will read your tweets in an angry voice, and things like that. So I tried to be a little bit more cognizant of being like, okay, when I text somebody, it doesn't necessarily mean if they respond in a certain way, it doesn't mean that it's like negative or anything like that. And I can't put my own things because I'm just making assumptions about it. So that's kind of where it stood out for me, I think, this week. So,
well, good job.
Yeah,
good job on being aware.
Well, thanks. Yeah. So it was very helpful.
It's a really important one, because we don't know everything. People really want to fill in the blanks so they can feel comfortable and not feel like there's a void of info or knowledge. So they fill in the blanks and they just assume, if somebody assumes that RVD and Tommy Dreamer used to drug girls, then that's what they're gonna think. And with that, the reason that they're gonna think that is because perception is reality. So that's something to always keep in mind, because people in general can only see as far as their own wall of vision. So what's real to them, that's fact to them. So that's why it's hard to get people to take in new information and to reprogram themselves, because it does take changing their perception. So that's something that I actually want to talk about. It's when you're arguing with somebody, you got to take that into mind. Is like basic thinkers, since they can only think of so much, their reality is totally different, because what's real to them is only like what they see. Like small town talk that doesn't work in the real world is like a guy talk, a guy bro talk, talking, hey, bro. Chicks in Bellevue are easy, man. Okay, now what his perception is based on? What the entire female generation? I mean, population of everybody that's in Bellevue? No, I doubt it. Whatever. That's his reality, though, I guess, based on whatever experience he had. Most likely he's just full of crap anyway. That's why bro talk is bro talk, dude. So it took a while to build up thick skin. You know what I mean? The younger you are, the less secure you are, because the less you know about yourself and how you fit in with society and just everything in general. The less you know. I remember in 1991 in USWA at the Louisville Gardens, right? Mm-hmm. After the match, for some reason during the show, I'm in the back where fans can come through and like buy hot dogs and stuff. I don't know what I'm doing back there. I wasn't even old enough to drink because I'm 20 years old at this. Yeah. So I couldn't have been buying a beer. I don't know what I was doing. But I remember having this argument with this guy, this fan, and it was such a stupid argument, but I was the one with the facts and I knew, but I could not convince him because his perception was his reality. And he was talking about how they add weight to the wrestlers up there. And he was saying, that they put me at 210. And he was saying, that I only weighed like 180 pounds. And I was like, no, actually, no. I said, I don't add weight because I never really looked my weight. And I weighed 205 at the gym today. No, you don't. Yes, I did. No, you don't weigh. There ain't no way. Because I weigh 175. You're 5 pounds heavier than me. That's all. And I was like arguing like an idiot. Like there was something like, man, I wish there was a scale right here because I bet you all the money in the world, man. And I don't know why it was so important for me to try to convince him, but I couldn't. Because he was sure, because that was his reality, no matter what I could have said, short of stepping on a scale in front of him, that's what his reality was going to be. So you have to keep that in mind when you're talking to people, that they all have different realities. A lot of people are from small towns, or they only know the rules of society as far as it goes in their household, because they haven't really been anywhere. So they just know what mom and dad and brothers and sisters, like what their family values and rules are. And so they might say something, like, hey, you don't talk bad about the dead. Well, hey, guess what? If the dad was an asshole, why wouldn't you? Like, ooh, am I gonna get grounded? No, I don't live in your house. You know what I mean? But anyway, people are short-sighted because of that, And so you got to check yourself, and that's true with us as well. What is reality to us might not be the complete reality to people that know more than we do. And this could be coming out soon with all this alien talk. Like they're disclosing all this hidden, unacknowledged information that they've had that may include alien technology, that may include super advanced ways of traveling, and possibly even telepathic communication. It's crazy, all this stuff that's coming out now, and people have been following it can say it's always been out there. That's what I call behind the curtain of eyelids, because we've all been blind to it, even if it has been in front of our face. That's because of the disinformation campaign that goes against it, so it makes everybody sound crazy. But anyway, our reality as we know it says that you can't travel the way that those spaceships travel. Not our reality, so our perception is that you can measure it by certain measuring systems, and you can move certain ways. And so what they're able to do is a whole new reality anyway. So, but keep it in check as far as like anything, like some of what we think we know, we don't know. This dumbass on Twitter says, well, doctors aren't writing prescriptions for heroin and for cocaine. And it's like, dude, you don't even know what you're talking about. Like, why would you put that out there without just Googling it first? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I know that we're in a society where there's not as much accountability because of social media, because you can go out there and say whatever, not be held accountable. So because of that, people don't care as much about being right or wrong. Those aren't the people that I'm going to reach, but the people like me that try not to be wrong because they care about their image, try to be right. And one of the ways you can try to be right is to keep that in mind. Is what you say going to be limited really just to your own short-sighted reality, or is it something that you really know a lot about. So anyway, I did an RVD episode about this a long time ago, about how true this is to everybody, their own perception, what they see, that's real to them, and it's there's no two ways about it. So that's what I want you to keep in mind.
I like it. And, that's a very, I'm already relating about it, because it's just like how I grew up in a household, to the, town I grew up in, to anything like that. Yeah, I had a perception of life. And then when you get out of that element and you go into the other aspects of the world and stuff like that, you grow. And I can absolutely think of plenty of incidences where perception was like, wow, I thought so differently about certain things or life in general. And now it's like I feel a little bit more well-rounded than what I was. So it's like, and I know there's always room to grow. So yeah, holy smokes, bro, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah, like I said, if you want to see some more, I did an episode on it, one of the original RVDologies. I can't remember the story that I told or shared, or what examples there were, but it's so true, and it's so obvious sometimes when you're talking to somebody, when you can tell that what's real to them is totally based on how they perceive whatever they're experiencing, and sometimes if that doesn't match up, it's easy to understand why.
Oh yeah, and you can definitely point it out too, like when you see people like that. Yeah, absolutely, you can.
I remember, like years and years and years and years and years ago, allegedly, people, they didn't think the world was flat. They knew it was. It wasn't. They knew for sure. Like that was their reality. Like we live in a flat world.
Yeah.
They knew that. Everyone knew that. It was fact, because that was their reality. So, we've evolved since then, obviously. But then that's a good example to think about it. It's not just it's a whole different like for fact. This is fact. This is how it is, and then that can even change.
That can totally change, 100%. Jeez. Well, cool, Rob. Hey, yeah, you're gonna be you're out and about this weekend coming up, aren't you? You got something going on.
Yeah, so I just came from Detroit, which was cool. Of course, RVD had the big lines. It wasn't like going home though, because I didn't really see like people I grew up with or anything. It was much like being anywhere else at conventions, but it was cool. The Astronomicon, I have video footage of it. I'm going to be throwing that up on my YouTube page probably tonight. Real tonight, not when this airs tonight. But it'll be up there by the time anyone sees this. And I am going to New Jersey Sunday. This will air on Friday, huh?
This will air Friday, but and then it'll drop Monday. So, via the podcast feed.
I'm at Pandora's Box in Lafayette, New Jersey.
All right.
Yeah. And then the next week is Fanboy in Knoxville, Tennessee.
That's right.
Yeah. Got a lot of stuff going on, just like always. I'm at least as busy as I want to be. Glad we're taking time to do these and building up a little bit of a following by doing so.
Absolutely, and it's been a lot of fun, guys. Like, we appreciate all the feedback you give, and if you want to engage more, go to rvdpod.com, comment on the videos. It really helps too. I've noticed we've been getting some traction here via the podcast too as well. So the podcast element. So write a review, go on Spotify, go on Apple iTunes, write us a review, and subscribe to it too. And but as far as anything else goes, follow Rob at The Real RVD on all social media forms. You can follow me on Twitter at Dominic DeAngelo. And otherwise than that, yes. Oh, if you're watching us, you're seeing the full episode, you're on the Premier Streaming Network. But if you're just seeing clips, you can check us out. The full video episodes are on the Premier Streaming Network. Watch on Premier.com. So check that out. So,
you think we should promote the live stream we're doing next Wednesday on Friday and Monday, whenever people are listening to this, or we should wait until we know exactly what we're doing?
So, right now we'll just say this right now. We're planning to do a live show next week.
Keep your eyes and ears open.
Your eyes peeled for it, and Rob's got some cool guests lined up for it too. It's going to be a good one. So
open up the curtains of eyelids.
Cool. All right, guys. Hey, we'll see you next week, right here on One of a Kind.
I was waiting for some kind of sign, some kind of indication I was wasting my time. I got myself up out the basement. I faked it long enough to say I made it. I was patient, I put up a fight. I kept saying to myself, oh, the future is bright. I confronted everything that I was faced with and put it off another day. I don't know why I don't start, but I can't quite seem to open up the communication. I wanna try so hard, but I can't find anything to give me the motivation. I took medication, went under the knife. I tried to straighten up, I even took your advice. I honestly and humbly engaged in my slow and steady rehabilitation. I hesitated, what a surprise, and then I think I kinda took my eye off the prize, spending all the time I should have waited.